We bought the house in 2005. Our first son arrived in 2006, and 3.5 years later, our second son arrived, and the house really started becoming quite small. In the end, we decided to add an addition to the back of the house. The whole house is painted out in Farrenball white. I live in color at work every day, and I love coming home to just something that's very clean and works well as a backdrop to various colors and can be changed up quite simply. The living room for me was really important to add color to the space. It's the first room you see when you walk in. The sofa we had previously, and we recovered it in this beautiful Nordic blue velvet from Robert Allen. It has just the right amount of gray. The pillows just added that extra hit of color within the space. The Turkish rugs were a find online at eCarpet Gallery. Stacey Smithers insisted I try them at home, and sure enough, they were perfect. Several years ago, I had purchased the apothecary type unit on the right side of the mantle, and had been living at my parents' house for a few years. I think where it lives now is perfect, especially paired up with the demi-lume table. The demi-lume just adds that perfect hit of trad to the room, and I think that was almost missing. For our front window, we get amazing light throughout the house, and I didn't want to block with having two panels, so I decided just to add shutters on the lower half. Because we're elevated, we didn't need the privacy for the full space. And it was ideal to work with Canadian custom shutters as they were able to custom spray them to match our trim. It was really important for me to have a banquette in our dining room. The storage is perfect as we don't have any upper cabinetry in our kitchen. Serving pieces, linens, candles are all stored within the units underneath the banquette. The fabric was actually something that I had in my files for quite some time. It's perfect for the space because it is indoor-outdoor fabric, so if any spills do happen, it's an easy cleanup. The light was found at the door store, and I fell in love with it right off the bat. It has this beautiful patina, and I think the light bulbs that have this kind of faceted finish to them is just a really lovely architectural touch. In the house originally, we had a wall that separated the kitchen and the dining room and living room, and by opening up the space, it meant that we could add this large island. It enabled us to entertain and cook and all be in the same space together. So I really wanted to keep to a clean, simple palette for the kitchen. I picked white subway tiles, the counters are all white, the cabinetry's even white. The kitchen cabinets are from IKEA. To break up the white within the kitchen, I added the brass hardware from Lee Valley on all the cabinetry. And then to break that up, I added the Kohler faucet to the sink, and I just love how that black stands on its own on the island. Working with IKEA Installation Services, we added different elements, so the island ended up being covered in Carrara marble. It's beautiful in the sense that it has this really strong veining to it. On the outer cabinetry, I actually used handstone for the surfaces around the range because I think it was key that it could hold up to pots and pans and the mess of cooking. We upgraded to a 5-burner range, and this Bertazzoni range was perfect because it is simple in design, but it gave us all the elements we wanted. And just above the range, we added a pot filler, and we decided to go with a chrome finish on that to work with the range. Leading down the hall, we have the principal bedroom. Because the back of the house is quite modern, we have these large windows to address. And I decided to install floor-to-ceiling drapes, and Tonic Living has a great selection of fabrics, and we decided to go with this natural linen. I just think it adds this really soft touch to the room, and it works well with the lovely soft pink rug and the blue and grays within the space. On the other side of the window, we did a full wall of PAX units, and IKEA Installation Services modified the PAX units to fit the entire space, and so they look custom. And for my husband and I, we have our entire closet, and all of our belongings are in these 2 units, so it's perfect. And the finishing touch was the light. Our deputy editor, Hilary Smythe, actually showed me the feature that was going to be in our French publication on Lambert et Fille. And as soon as I saw his lights, I just thought, I have to use one of these in the house. I love the brass little accents on the light, and the scale of it is actually a little unexpected. So then beside our room, we have Tate's room, and Tate's room actually was designed around the two beds butted up against each other. And the great thing about these beds, they have storage underneath. I love the mix of the IKEA bedding with the Virginia Johnson bedding, and then the hits of the classic Hudson Bay blankets at the end are just beautiful with that Kelly green hit. For an extra pop, we brought in the yellow chair from IKEA. And then to finish it off, we have the Zia Birch navy and cream stripe from Tonic Living, and it's just a beautiful fabric. So Gray's room is the only room that is painted out in the entire house. I love Pavilion Gray from Farrow and Ball. From a shoot a few years back, I used this Natural Curiosities octopus print, and I actually framed it out in plexi. He loves it. It's a great element to the space. On the other side of his bed, he has this little niche. We put his dresser in that little space and then did this little collage over top, and it displays some special items. We decided not to add an ensuite in the whole project, so it was really key for me that the finishing touches to the main bathroom were classic and long-lasting. The marble tile from Olympia Tile was an easy choice. I added the detail of a chair rail that ran throughout the whole entire space, and it just adds that bit of trad look. I mixed the designs by using very contemporary fixtures from American Standard for the sinks and for the tub. However, I selected a more traditional design for the toilet. The elements definitely have to work together, but I don't feel they have to have an exact match. When designing the house, I always kept in mind that we were designing the house for us and not for resale purposes. The house really works for our family, and it's a space that we can grow into. But once the boys move out, which I know I'm really looking far ahead, the house is still a decent size, and it will be perfect for us to retire in.